Xavier game day on us.
So you realize for you to say engage number one, you'd have to be the one fucking signing the paychecks, right?
I'm aware.
Okay. Is that like wishful thinking on your part?
Well, you know.
Hey, fake it till you make it, right?
I'm trying to rush through this in maybe 10 more minutes.
General's recommended 30 minutes of daily activity.
All right. So do they have more interviews or no?
Yeah. They gotta do some kind of something with the player of the game or something like that. That'd be dying.
It's you.
Well, if yeah, I mean, if whatever, just let me know what we're doing as far as if we're running, if we're going to run the commercial short or if we're going to run the show long or just however you want to do that. Just whatever. Just tell me beforehand so I know to.
This is Xavier strength and conditioning coach Matt Jennings with a tip from the tryout training room. Stretching before and after a workout is essential for avoiding injury. Make sure you stretch properly.
We have a Xavier basketball game that ran long, so it is messing up our start time, if you guys are wondering. See, no one's watching this right now, but I'm talking because it's going to go on YouTube at some point.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Facebook.
Basketball, serving the tri-state for over 100 years. We offer comprehensive eye care, the latest in contact lens technology, hundreds of top designer and brand name frames, and the newest digital lens technology available. We also have one of the largest selections of Oakley, Maui Jim, Costa, and Ray-Ban sunglasses in the area. Get your Xavier basketball ticket to Wing Eye Care for a special offer on eyewear. With 14 offices to serve you, there's a Wing Eye Care doctor.
Wow, there's a really long delay.
Serving your family's total eye care needs.
So,
Yeah, of like a minute.
that's cool. So people aren't going to be able to like listen on the radio and then like watch the hangout and have the.
Yeah,
That's fine.
that might just be mine, but I doubt it.
You do have a janky ass computer.
Why you gotta be hating? It's done so much for me over the years. We've been through a lot.
Apparently, people are watching. It's just not updating for me. Sorry. I'm sorry. This microphone's not live. I don't know why I'm talking into it.
Oh, birthday.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Oh, 15 viewers. Fuck, that escalated quickly. Holy shit.
Here we go.
Uh-oh. Yes, okay, Tom, you're watching too. Fuck you. God. Yeah, I set the standard for fan interaction.
Yeah. I like that you're like, watch what we say during the live cast.
No, what I meant was, hey, you know that shit we get NDA'd for? Don't say any of it.
Oh.
That's what. Wait, what did you think I meant?
I don't know.
Not get fired?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I'd be.
I like that they're messaging you instead of using the handy dandy chat bar on the live.
Well, I think they feel important because they're actually friends of mine. Like on the. That's all it takes for them to feel important. Your lives are sad, miserable, and lonely. Let's see here. What was I doing? Oh, that's right. Show broadcast on iHeart will be starting a smidge late.
They're coming back to do their final segment, and after that, then
Go to the opposing.
Okay.
Buy around during the next.
Just make sure we got April on the line, you know, when we start, and give me like a 30-second heads up so I'm not still cursing when, you know, we go on the air.
NFL coin toss. Make the call. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Want the upscale look of granite surfaces without the high price tag? Get the best of both worlds with 180FX from Formica Group. It offers the durability and affordability of laminate, along with the large grain, sophisticated patterns you'll find in real granite and stone. Bring your vision to the surface. Based here in our hometown, Formica Corporation is a proud sponsor of the Xavier Musketeers. Visit Formica.com to find out where to buy and support a local business. Follow your Xavier Musketeers all season long in the Inquirer and on Cincinnati.com. The Inquirer and Cincinnati.com connect you to the best pregame analysis, in-depth stories.
And if you're wondering why I'm staring at you guys not saying anything, it's because I'm typing
I was about to
stuff.
say, we have such.
Person's name is William.
Inquirer and Cincinnati.com.
Oh, apparently you didn't give him the last name. You're just like, his name's William, and you didn't say Dr. William April, the renowned Dr. William April.
Look bad.
I'm sorry that there was an oversight on the large stupid gentleman next to me's part, and he will be. I'm sorry, don't hurt me.
I was about to say, you know.
I love you.
I'll save this all up.
Your child will be entered to win 2 tickets to the Xavier Seton Hall game January 23rd, or a chance to participate in a private Christmas. Visit goxavier.com/healthyxfactor and help your child share their healthy X Factor.
Xavier fans, Pension Corporation of America is your trusted expert for managing retirement plans for companies of all sizes. With over 35 years of experience working with tri-state area businesses, they leverage the national power of the Alliance Benefit Group while maintaining the personal touch you'd expect from a hometown company. Where will your retirement take you? Visit Pension.
Sure, they're watching now. Like I thought.
Florida texted me too and was wondering if we were doing a show tonight. I guess no one's picked up on the.
Well, I don't know if they'll be able to because of Xavier.
Mate,
I'll let them know we're running a smidge behind, and that's why.
Yeah, they can dial in once Xavier is over.
Yeah, and you just point and click a picture. Upload it to shipperoo.com. Drivers will bid on your walkie widget and come and get it. Shipper who, you say? Shipperoo.com, I say.
The people watching are like, I thought there'd be more shenanigans.
It's the new way.
Take your shirt off, Jack.
No. Maybe later.
CAP Talk Station.
And both down invitational champions of the Xavier Musketeers. They defeated Dayton in the championship game 90-61.
By the name tonight's Kroger star of the game, and it is Edmund Sumner. He had 14 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 24 minutes to play. He was 2 for 3 from the arc, and he had some big time shots early in the game to establish momentum. Tonight's Kroger star of the game is brought to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger today. You'll find great food and low prices throughout the store.
Yeah, he truly has great talent. He pulled up and hit a three right over Smith. Just a little bit of space. He realized he had the height advantage, and he was able to watch that without anybody getting a hand in the space. He drove the lane, however, in the second half when Xavier needed some momentum. Did a great job to set.
So this is what radio's like. Just waiting patiently.
Well, no, I mean generally this is not what's. Hey, that looks cool, Tom. Thank you. Ooh.
In 4 days. Immensely.
Dead nice.
Yeah. For those wondering, the Malefica's BRE edition. That's very redundant. The BRE, because the E in the BRE is the edition, so the BR edition. Anyway, there's some
Why
done.
did you just say Ballistic Radio Edition?
It was pretentious.
BRE, which then they will later look
Brie. We like cheese spelled wrong. No.
I do like good cheese. That's good cheese we had the other night at the tapas place. It was really good cheese.
Yeah, okay, this sounds now.
This is what they want to hear about. This is what they tuned in for. They were like,
Oh God.
I want to know the inside track of Ballistic Radio. We talk about cheese.
I'm so sorry to everyone listening.
Expand our bench. That's what they did, and then to top it all off, a dominating performance against a former longtime foe. It's just getting better than that.
Here's taking on Western Kentucky, December the 5th. Tip off at 8:30 your time at 8 p.m. That game can be heard on 700 WLW. Next, Chris Beck show from the Holy Grail will be this Thursday, December the 3rd. We'd love for you to join us downtown at the Holy Grail. If you can make it, that's from 7 to 8. If you can't be with us, listen on 55 KRC. Our partners at Keating, Buchanan, and Clecamp would like to remind you that this broadcast is an exclusive presentation of Xavier Sport.
Are you guys going to dial into the ISDN then? Once we start.
Express written consent from Xavier University in Learfield Sports. And our thanks to Jimmy Sandy.
He said I have to down there.
Frank Lover here.
You've got all that right.
I'm Joe Sunderland.
I don't have that. I don't have the number.
Musketeers 90.
I could have swore we were sending them last week's episode now, and
Xavier basketball from Learfield Sports on 55 KRC.
Hi, this is Bob Sanker, Xavier graduate and business law partner.
I get him on the line then, I guess, the guest.
For sophisticated legal and business solutions to individuals and organizations, from startups to Fortune 500 companies. KMK attorneys have been helping businesses prosper here in Cincinnati and across the country since 1954. For
A minute and a half, 2 minutes.
KMK Law is proud to
So when we hit breaks, how do you want us to do that? Do you want me to just hit them at my normal marks?
Chevrolet has a revolutionary shopping idea. It's
Hit the first one late, but then try to catch up.
the way to keep everything you like about Black Friday, the great deals, without everything you don't like. Chaos, camping out, limited inventory, all of that. Plus, you don't have to wait until the end of the month. Skip the chaos, not the deals. Get to your Chevy dealer now.
Learfield Sports on the Xavier Sports Network. Xavier Basketball has been brought to you by State Farm. We exist to assist. The preceding has been a presentation of the Xavier Sports Network.
What the hell are you doing behind me?
I don't know. I do this every time we're in here.
Here we are.
Oh.
Here we go.
It's a 55 KRC talk station.
Welcome to Ballistic Radio. Join us as we discuss hard-won self-defense lessons, as well as information you need to survive a violent encounter. Listen as armed professionals, industry experts, and gunfight survivors help answer all your firearms and self-defense questions while responsibilities as an armed citizen. Ballistic Radio, just the facts. And now, here's your host, John Johnston.
Welcome to Ballistic Radio. I'm your host, John Johnston. Remember, you can always listen to past shows at ballisticradio.com and get the latest behind-the-scenes info, arguments, silliness, battles against derp, stupid stuff, things. Facebook.com/Ballistic Radio. Coasting with me this evening, Jack.
Woo!
Woo? That's
I don't know. I don't have a catchphrase yet.
Yeah.
We barely got the nickname set aside. I haven't figured out a catchphrase.
Yeah, so we're running a little late today, just because there was a basketball game and people care about that here, I guess. I don't know. So quick shout out to Garrett, who turned 7 this last week. I believe Garrett is our youngest fan, so happy birthday, Garrett. We're going to be joined by Dr. William Aprill in just 1 second. Quick reminder, this segment brought to you by Wilson Combat. Wilson Combat, makers of the finest custom 1911s, ARs, and scatterguns since 1977. Legacy of quality, innovation, and service. Learn more about their firearms and accessories at www.wilsoncombat.com. And also, Eritis Industries and the patent-pending QDC quick-detached side saddle shell carrier. Available for pre-order. Check out the new rigid interchangeable side saddle carrier, changing how you look at shotguns forever. Fisher, Chris Fry, and myself all call it the best hard-mount side saddle carrier ever invented. Would you like to know more? Visit eritisindustries.com. So, without further ado, Dr. William Aprill. Hey, man, how's it going? Oh, not too bad. Sorry for the late start. So we're gonna try and get caught up here. So this will be a quick segment, and then we'll jump right into the meat of the show. For those that have not listened to like the last 10 million times that you've been on the show, can you go over your background real quick? Okay, so I guess there's a couple different things that we want to talk about, but the number I'm curious about that I don't think maybe enough people really consider is what they're prepared to do violence towards someone else over. And there's a lot of like cookie cutter scenarios But just like in a minute or two, can you sort of highlight what the problems are with thinking about it in like black and white terms and hop into the break and get more into it next segment?
It's an amount that they can cope with, an amount they can see themselves doing. The problem is the world doesn't follow our preset rules. The amount of violence that we're comfortable doing may not be anywhere near enough to solve our problem, and the amount necessary to solve our problem may be an amount we're not comfortable with at all.
Now, is that set for each individual based off of any particular thing, or is it a mutable concept depending on maybe even who the attack?
I would think the baseline is very individual, but it can certainly be trained to where it needs to be. I had a patient who was a police officer on the Atlantic Seaboard who wound up in a hand-to-hand confrontation once his gun was drawn, lost his gun, and wound up having to beat a subject to death with a handheld radio. And so, when you think about beating someone to death, you're literally talking about hitting their head with something hard enough to break it open.
Right.
And that may not at all be something that people have contemplated doing, especially because the gun tends to frame things in our mind as being, and for most of us, that's a very antiseptic, draw and fire and reholster because they're used to shooting at targets.
Well, and that seems to be one of the most common things that you see at something like Craig Douglas's ECQC class, where you've got gun people that are very gun-centric and have focused most of their efforts on that. And then we find out that, the firearm is not what always fixes the problem. In fact, it can make it worse sometimes, depending on the situation.
Sure, it's not always an advantage.
Right.
And in extreme close quarters context, it's very far from an advantage. It's often a deterrent and sort of a trap that it's easy to fall into. Sort of like the old 70s sociological notion, trigger pulls the finger. The notion here would be that I'm carrying a gun, so my problems will be gun problems.
Right.
And that's true in an uncertain number of occasions.
The blade itself incites to deeds of violence. That's something like that. Let's do this, man. We have got to go to break. We are talking with Dr. William Aprill, and right now you're listening to Ballistic Radio.
55 KRC.
57-second break. Awesome. There's a lot more that goes into this than people think, that we're like juggling different things. And what was that?
Are you getting a lot of bacon?
When I talk?
Just like in general.
No.
Okay, that just maybe me then.
I think it was actually their end, because I'm pretty sure we're playing last week's show in Florida now, and I think that they were having issues on the Orlando side, and then it occurred to me, it's like, why are you texting me right now? This is not what we're doing anymore anyway. So I don't think it's our problem. There's too many stations to keep track of. And the producer's talking in my ear right now.
Learn more at CincinnatiChamber.com. Sean Hannity. Weekdays 3 till 6. 55 KRC, the talk station.
Welcome back to Ballistic Radio. This segment brought to you by Darkstar Gear. Whether you know the color of the boathouse at Hereford or only know the color of your mom's basement and Cheeto-stained socks, Darkstar Gear has a solution to your gear carrying needs. Check out their clip-on holster for small semi-autos and revolvers, or their highly adjustable full-size AIWB holster. They even have a belt wrap sheath for popular fixed-blade centerline knives. Really ties your EDC together, like that one rug I used to have. Designed, developed, and pressure tested for real life, not Instagram. I have an Instagram profile. Follow me, Ballistic J. Find out more at darkstargear.com. And also, Eridus Industries and the patent-pending QDC quick detached side saddle shell carrier. Available now for pre-order. Would you like to know more? visit eritusindustries.com. So we were talking with Dr. William Aprill about violent T goodness and violent T badness stuff. Something, Jack?
I mean, it's all in how you look at it.
I feel like dropping a Fiona Apple like Easter egg here. So is everything? No? Paper bag? Come on. William, are you still there? I'm sorry for making you listen to us be silly. So we were talking. Yeah, just slide. See, now Fight Club. Fiona Apple and Fight Club.
That's a good combo.
Mm.
Moody teenagers. That's that combo right there.
Marla. So the nice thing is we're now running on schedule since we took a really short break and everything, so we can slow down just a little bit. Now, before the break, you were talking about people not being prepared to, you know, do the level of violence necessary to solve the problem sometimes, or at least not even comprehending what that may or may not be. You mentioned training. What does training? How do we get over that?
Well, one of the most direct ways is the use of reactive targets. Ordinarily, when you shoot a paper target, you sort of conclude a string of fire based on what you expect to do or what's called for by the string of fire, and then you look and see the result. Well, reactive targets, only work if you hit them right, and sometimes hitting them right is unknown to you, and that's particularly good training.
Right.
Just shooting at a target and feeling like you got a pretty good hit is one thing, but shooting at it until it falls over, goes away, or anything like that is much better because it more closely simulates what's going to happen in an encounter with another person. I had a trauma surgeon tell me that the most common response to being shot with a handgun is no response at all. So there's no indication whether your hits were good enough.
Right.
So, reactive targets can teach us to ingrain the use of follow-through and, continued good quality hits until we get the result we're after, until some kind of course of fire is finished.
So would you say that the number one, I mean, when you really see this in practice is when, you catch a news headline or something about that, police have shot someone umpteen number of times, and that seems excessive to people that don't know anything about this, but to you or I or anyone else, it's like, oh yeah, the cop shoots someone, 22 times. Yeah, it takes that sometimes.
Yeah, and it's very rarely, look, it's very rarely 22 high torso hits.
Right.
They tend to be, hits from oblique angles, hits to extremity, hits jerked low and left or low and right, sort of randomly distributed from the ankles to the forehead. But very few of them in areas where they'll do enough damage to make the person stop doing whatever they were doing to get themselves shot in the first place.
You're saying we need to hit like really small targets under pressure, really fast, multiple times?
As Tom Gibbons always said, if you deliver good hits quickly, not just make the gun go off within certain time constraints.
Right. Well, do you think that falls back into people don't like thinking about their magic talisman being ineffective?
I think a little bit from the other side of the equation, which is that people don't want to think about the true nature of the people that would force us to shoot them. The true nature of folks that force us to shoot them is, by its very nature, unreasonable. They're going to be more on the unhinged side than the normal side. Notions their responses are going to be what we expect, are a little fanciful, but it's very tough to think about things that are not going to go well for us and it could cost us our lives.
Right.
It's just very difficult for people to think, on the dark side of the ledger, so to speak, and yet it's something that we really have to do. We have to understand the world as it is and the nature of the problem.
Well, and that was something that when we had Caleb Causey on, we were talking about, and he made the point, no one wants to think about medical training because that acknowledges that we fail, that we need medical training because we got hurt. No one wants to think about that.
Sure. It's really, because we run up against the forces of people's own denial who don't like to think about things going poorly for us. And in Caleb's class, the greatest illuminating points that he ever made for me is, one of the most important gunshot range, casualty care techniques is used on yourself.
Right.
And Caleb said if you shoot yourself, it still counts. which is a great way of looking at it, but it means that something's gone dreadfully, dreadfully wrong in our shooting, and that's something that runs right up against people's denial. You know, I've been shooting guns my whole life. I'm not going to shoot myself. Oh, until you have. You know, somebody with me is going to shoot themselves, or I'm going to shoot someone inadvertently. Preparing for all those things forces us to confront denial, which makes it easier and easier just not to have those thoughts, no matter what disadvantage that leaves us at.
When that goes back to why people practice things that they're good at and they don't practice the things that they're bad at, because, well, that's not any fun.
Well, I mean, it's you know, you can see denial in play at the range every day when people run a target out to 3 or 5 or 7 yards and make a wonderful tight group with it round after round like a metronome. And if you ask them why they don't, you know, if they're particularly good at that, switch the gun to the other hand or shoot faster or something, they'll say, well, that would make the group open up. Well, that means they're more invested in the pride value of making that very compelling group that looks good to other shooters than they are in learning something that might be more applicable.
Right. Here's a question. So we were talking about people, you know, not being prepared to do the level of violence necessary maybe to successfully defend themselves. Do we ever see the opposite problem where if someone else gets involved, maybe we go too far too quickly because of the emotional attachment to the other person?
There are some cases like that, and they tend to be pretty narrowly distributed. You know, it is interesting to me that I do get the question fairly often. Well, I'm a little worried that I'm a sociopath, and I'll say, well, what makes you think that? And they say, well, I really feel like I could hurt someone if the need arose. Well, the rest about that means you're not a sociopath.
Yeah.
I just kind of have to assuage a lot of people about that, and I say that the question itself proves that you fail that test.
Right.
The one thing where a sort of normal person can be pushed to pretty extreme behaviors involving loved ones, especially children.
Right.
You know, it's not at all uncommon for people to go to pretty extreme lengths. There was a famous case on my neck of the woods in Louisiana in the late 70s, early 80s, when a martial arts instructor was accused of molesting young children and then took off on the lam only to be brought back to face the charges by the police. And as he was being transported through the Baton Rouge airport, the father of one of the alleged victims turned and concealed himself in a phone booth and executed the martial arts instructor with a pistol shot to the head as he walks by. This video is readily found on the internet.
Right.
Well, it turned out the martial arts instructor actually didn't commit the crime. And that's an example of other directed violence gone too far and an analytical process gone not far enough.
Well, and that's interesting because I had never heard that aspect to it where they found out that he hadn't done it.
That was the sort of end result, was that it didn't feel like the accusations were substantiated.
Huh.
And who knows, innocence or guilt are, you know, very hard to prove in cases like that. But I think a lot of folks would endorse that with a sort of a, you know, armchair quarterback, hell yeah. But when you're talking about taking someone's life, on the word of a child, well, children do lots of unusual things.
Yeah.
Including make stuff up.
Yeah.
So when you're writing a check, a blank check, up to and including your freedom and your life, the number of people we're willing to do unquestioned violence for should be absolutely minuscule.
Right. Well, and that once again goes back into the people's unwillingness to, you know, accept that a negative outcome might be the result of their action. We had a concealed carry instructor north of here just apprehend a robber. Now, they were within their legal rights to do so. You can effect a citizen's arrest in Ohio if you witness a felony occurring, you know, and he held this guy at gunpoint, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people were saying, well, that's a great thing. And I'm over here like, well, the only reason that's a great thing is because in this instance, it didn't turn out that he had to shoot anyone, which would have been incredibly questionable, or he didn't get hurt himself. And it seems like just a lot of people are not thinking about the ways it can go wrong. They think about the ways it could go right, but they don't think about the ways it could go wrong.
Those should be intention.
Right. I'm sorry. I talked too much, and I'll do better next time. But we have to go to break. Right now, we're talking with Dr. William Aprill. You're listening to Ballistic Radio.
55krc.com.
There's a group chat?
Yeah, we've been group chatting the whole time.
Where the hell is this? Because I'm not seeing it.
I don't know, but we've been making fun of you.
Well, you should make fun of me. I am worthy of making fun of. Let's do this. Let me open up a different web browser. What do I got? What do I got?
Call EverDry 874-7200 or everdrycincy.com.
Yeah, no shit. Chrome isn't my default browser.
Gun Shop in Finneytown.
Chrome is the best.
Monday through Saturday, and they're known for carrying the highest quality firearms and ammunition in town. Kyle will even place special orders for those hard-to-find items. Just ask. I know because I shop Kyle's regularly for his quality firearms, personal defense ammo, and gift cards. Kyle's Gun Shop, just north of the Brentwood Plaza at 928 Hempstead Drive in Finneytown, or call 407-9095. Make sure you tell them that Brian Thomas sent you.
Learn about financial strategies that may help lead you to a more successful retirement. Tune in every Sunday, noon to 1, for the Sound Money Investment Show with Greg Brown, right here on 55 KRC.
For over 180 years and hundreds of styles, Red Wing shoes have been built to fit and built to last. Save on America's footwear, on the job or on the road. Red Wing shoes and work boots can handle it all. Red Wing King Toe work boots are built with an extended cab and a world of compacts. Wear a pair and feel for yourself. 44% more space in the toe box. Towing on now. Save your employees time and money. Schedule a safety shoe mobile visit at your facility. Red Wing Shoes, Westchester on 747, Cleves, Miami-Town on 128. Online at redwingshoes.com. Red Wing Shoes, built to fit, built to last.
If you or your partner has a curved penis, it could be a
God damn it!
There it is!
99% of adult men estimated to have Peyronie's disease.
Why do they do this to us?
Every time.
Ah!
Hi, I'm Missy Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch. Boll & Branch makes the softest, most comfortable sheets in the world for a fraction of what you'd pay in a department store.
I really thought this was going from curved penis
And cut out all
to
the
dildo
you'll find everywhere.
advertisement.
I'm especially proud that 3 U.S. presidents sleep on our sheets.
What the fuck is this?
For yourself or for a life. It's Black Friday weekend, and there's never been a better time to
Oh. No.
This reminds me I need bed sheets.
You sleep on a fucking beanbag. What do you need sheets for?
Don't judge me.
All
You still
right.
put sheets on the beanbag.
Uh,
What's wrong with you?
So don't miss the Black Friday sale at bollandbranch.com. That's BOLLANDBRANCH.com. And use promo code Black Friday.
Yeah, I've got no chat here. I'm not okay with this. You better defend my honor.
As much as it can be defended.
Wait, what are we talking about with what are we talking about with William? Because I haven't been paying attention.
Violent-y stuff? The thing with the radio was pretty cool. Like, that's... That is the first cop that's ever not complained about how big and heavy the radio was. I guarantee it.
I guarantee that was a 30 seconds. Is there a cop? Because that shit would not fly now.
I want to read the write-up.
President Obama called for the NSA to shut down the program. Congress agreed. Starting today, the law requires that the NSA get a court order.
Right, the NSA will get a court order. Oh.
Details.
And NBA star Kobe Bryant announcing he'll retire at the end of this season. Fox News. We report, you decide.
55 KRC, the talk station.
Welcome back to Ballistic Radio. This segment brought to you by TopGunSupply.com. TopGunSupply.com is your web source for fine firearms, parts, and accessories. True product specialists committed to delivering the highest level of customer support to you. They carry top-name brands including Ed Brown, Wilson Combat, Les Bears, Sig Sauer, and many more, as well as premium AR pattern rifles. Whether you are looking to protect yourself, are a first-time gun buyer, or a competitive shooter, TopGunSupply.com can satisfy your firearms needs. TopGunSupply.com, your premier source for SIG parts and accessories. And also, Eridus Industries and the patent pending QDC, quick detach side saddle shell carrier. Available now for to know more. Desire to know more intensifies. Visit EridusIndustries.com. Did you blow your nose behind me? Is that what that was?
I saw it was like, because my desire to know more was intensifying.
I thought I excited you, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Just let it.
Yeah, let's focus now. Let's adult. So, we're talking with Dr. William Aprill. You still there, buddy?
I sure am.
Excellent. I haven't hung up on you yet. That's good. It's always a plus. And see, now we're broadcasting this episode on a Google Hangout so people can see the video of what I do during the show. And now they'll understand why it's like really a concern of mine that I, could hang up on you. Because I'm not paying as much attention to this as I should be.
Also, all kidding aside, I want to thank you guys for taking the lead against the fight against Peyronie's disease.
No comment, because we're not allowed to, due to station policy, comment on the advertising during the show. But yes, that's you can, because you've not signed any such thing. Anyway, moving forward.
Well, you can always change the name of your show to House of Tender.
Anyway, thank you. I'm so happy that you have gone down this path of information. You lovely person, you. Yeah, you just stay over there, Jack. So we were talking about before the break, people really shouldn't be willing to pretty much sign their life away for someone else, except in very minor, narrow, certainly, not without giving it a lot of forethought. Would you say that the biggest issue that we have when we're talking about these issues is people just don't make enough pre-need decisions?
Well, I think, yeah, exactly. But I think you got to back up, one order of magnitude and think about the difference between self-directed violence and other-directed violence. And the word violence itself makes people uncomfortable because we think violence is what the bad guys do. What I do as an armed citizen, well, that's defense. So when you're applying force to someone else's person, I mean, that is violence. Self-directed violence is the violence I'll do to save my own life. Other-directed violence is what I'll do to save the lives of protectors. For most folks, the threshold for other-directed violence is significantly lower than the threshold that will trigger self-directed violence. So you'll see people save the lives of other people, then ignore that safety for themselves and will re-engage. And that particular subset of other-directed violence, in the name of or in defense of children, like I said, that's a blank check that we're signing.
Right.
And so the cause can be very, very serious. Our lives, our freedom, other people's lives. And yet it's almost unthought about in the future. I've just thought about globally, I'll do anything for my kids, unquote. Well, that's something we really have to think about much more carefully now when we have the time, not at midnight in the corner of State and Maine.
Well, I mean, and that's certainly, and I've been talking with you about it. Melody Lauer and I have been working on a curriculum for next year for the last 9 months now, I think, about pretty much defending your kids, or what happens if something terrible occurs with your children present. And that's one of the major concerns, is not overreacting just because your kids are there.
No, that's an act. There are very few things that can sort of have the average normal person go from 0 to infinity instantly, but that's one of them. The care people extend for their children is so extreme that the triggering is almost involuntary when it happens.
Right.
We've got to fight through that wave of almost blanking out. Rage isn't helpful to anyone.
So can you talk about the difference between a reaction versus a response?
Sure. Reactions by definition involuntary. I mean, when you throw sodium into water, that chemical reaction is instant. The sodium doesn't get to decide if it wants to explode. But almost all of our behavior should be responsive. There's an input. We're going to process it using a cognitive process. We're going to think about it. And decide what to do. Now, that doesn't mean that's a slow endeavor. Cognitive interlude that changes it from a reaction to a response. And that's the behavior based on our thinking applied to the circumstance, and not just a reaction or a reflex action.
So, I mean, how do we get over that? You know, there are trainers that say this is what will happen to us, and we can't do anything about it, so we're just going to incorporate that into our training. And I've personally never agreed with that model, but I mean, to an extent, is that correct, or is it too dependent on the individual to make blanket statements?
Well, blanket statements are almost always false. Here I'll make one. Blanket statements are always false, including that one.
Right.
But you know, the stress inoculation is the way in that the world down. But if we're stress inoculated often enough, even through things like visualization, we can increase our processing speed so that we can go through that process of receiving information from the world, cogitating on it, thinking about it, engaging our brain, and then taking the best action, the best prompt action. I'm not posing that thinking should take the place of doing, but that instead thinking should be part of doing, as a part of, instead of just as a part of reacting.
Well, so the key there being that, and I know you already touched upon it, but we need to do things that speed up our processing speed.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's something that we do now, not during the event. You know, as I always say, you're not going to develop new knowledge, skills, and attributes during the event.
Not any good ones.
No, it's a come as you are affair. But now we have almost unlimited power to think about the future, to allocate training resources and time and money and all that sort of thing, but especially to allocate headspace, to visualize and think about things that don't naturally occur to us. Because the things that naturally occur to us can be very skewed. They can be skewed toward the things that we're good at, toward the things that we prefer to have happen. But what we want to do is strive to be able to see more of the world as it is, so that we're at or near that speed when the world manifests itself in a way that's harmful to us.
Well, that's something that John Hearn talks about in his presentations, is, you know, novel stimuli being one of the biggest issues that we face in these scenarios, is that if it's something completely new to us, we waste valuable seconds or half seconds or whatever unit of time you want to use, you know, trying to catch up, and that can be deadly.
Exactly, and John's exactly right. You know, there is, you know, people say there's no stopwatch in a gunfight. Well, there is. And as Tom Gibbons says, it's being held by the Grim Reaper.
Right.
You have as much time as, you know, as there is, and no more.
You've got the rest of your life
to solve this problem, right? Whether that's 70 years or 70 milliseconds, we're about to find out.
Right.
But we can use the tendency of our mind to develop what we call like linkages. When we see things that are like something else, we can prepare by having as big a conceptualization of what might happen as possible. You know, sometimes it's a shattering change from sort of denial to new realization. Think about 9/11 and the use of box cutters to take over aircraft.
Right.
Well, that'll never work again.
No.
People's denial about that and the belief that you should hold on and wait for negotiations to take place was shattered in a single day. And now, you know, God's mercy on the next person who tries to take over playing the box cutters, because they're going to be attacked and dismembered by the folks on the plane who now realize that's the reality of the world. They've caught up to that.
Right.
So the more things we can think about, we can spread our schema, our sense of what we can conceive of beyond our experience and beyond our expectation, if we do the legwork now, before the crisis.
Well, and that's, you know, as individuals that are either in the training industry or, you know, on the outskirts, it seems very self-serving for us to say things like that, but it is the absolute truth where, you know, like you said, in the middle of the problem is not when you start finding out ways to solve the problem if you've never considered it before.
Sure. I mean, I think it's fair to say that, you know, crisis doesn't create, you know, character or knowledge, skills, or attributes. It reveals them.
Right.
And what's revealed by the crisis may not be sufficient to handle the crisis.
Right, right. So let me interrupt there. Hold that thought. And I'm sorry for the whole commercial thing, but we got another one we got to get to. We're talking with Dr. William Aprill right now. You're listening to Ballistic Radio.
55 KRC.
Bang Meg Ryan.
What?
Nothing.
50 seconds. Yes. Meg Ryan? Like in the cut Meg Ryan, or like when Harry Met Sally Meg Ryan?
Top Gun Meg Ryan.
Oh.
Take me home and lose me forever, Goose.
Cut Meg Ryan was cool because she had like lost her career and was like, fuck, here it is.
Yeah, when do we start back up again?
Right now.
Right now?
Like getting ready to be right now. Let me see this.
No,
let me see.
Chevy Silverado. Now that's a green Black Friday November. We know you love a bargain. Go to Cincinnati.com and
don't judge how we have fun.
save hundreds, if not thousands. There's bikes from Montgomery Cycle.
It's funny to see the delay.
The delay's weird.
Yeah. It's like, wait. All right, here we go.
Bid on Cincinnati.com. This is your exclusive home for Glenn Beck. Oh man! Tomorrow at 9:06. KRC, the talk station.
Welcome back to Ballistic Radio. This segment brought to you by Tax Strike Steel Target Systems, makers of the quarter scale steel target and the arch frame target stand, which are literally the best steel targets and target stands I've ever used. Hit their steel targets with more than 60,000 rounds of rifle, pistol, and shotgun ammunition without a single problem. For more information, visit them at taxstrike.com. And also, Aridus Industries and the patent-pending QDC Quick Detach Side Saddle Shell Carrier, available now for pre-order. Check out the new rigid interchangeable side saddle carrier, changing how you look at shotguns forever. Find out why Steve Fisher, Chris Fry, and myself all call it the best hard mount side saddle carrier ever invented. Would you like to know more? Visit Aridus Industries. And we are talking with Dr. William Aprill. William, are you still there?
I sure am.
Excellent. So we've kind of discussed, you know, violence and the levels of violence necessary and who we will commit that violence for. I kind of want to switch gears just a little bit, and then actually I want to talk about a class that we're bringing up to Alliance at the beginning, mid part of December. I guess more towards the end of December, really.
I think that's mid-December.
Is it mid-December? It's
I
past
could be wrong, but yeah, it's mid-December, I think.
Was that a meow? Did you just throw a meow at me?
No.
Oh, it sounded like a Super Troopers reference, and in which case?
Why would I make a Super Troopers reference right now?
I don't know why you do that right now. So what I wanted to ask you about, I'm sorry, William, but they really shouldn't let us have a radio show. I don't know why they let us, but what I wanted to ask you about is, as far as indecision goes, when we are taking actions, there seems to be, you know, you teach a block on weapons disarmament, weapons disarms, whatever. Anyway, and this sort of applies to the classic hostage rescue scenario. Can you talk a little bit about the need for decisive action when we choose to act, and what some of the downfalls are if we don't?
Well, I think the longer you generally wait, once you determine the best course of action, it just becomes a matter of pure internal inhibition. We're thinking of all the things that can go wrong instead of all the things that drive us toward action. If a dangerous action can be avoided, then of course it should. But as I always say at the start of every disarming retention class, the only reason we attempt to disarm, which is from a position of pretty maximal disadvantage, is because the alternative is worse. We come to believe that even if we were we're going to be executed. And so at that point, it's a matter of not thinking about if I undertake a disarm, but when and how. That process starts us down another, what can be kind of a curly trail of decision making, where once we've decided to do something, but get lost in thinking about how to do it, the downsides get larger and larger consideration, and we tend to do nothing by default, not by choice. But generally, if you determine what the right course of action is, the time to do it is as soon as it's practical.
Well, and that's, I know that's a very vague sort of thing for us to try and talk about, and it's very hard to make absolute state immediately involved in. But
Right.
do you go ahead?
There is this kind of interesting take on the standard sort of hostage rescue target, and how that target, which is typically someone being held loosely around the neck in a sort of a chokehold format by someone who's been holding a pistol to their temple, that has become what defines hostage just about everyone's mind. The late trainer Paul Gomez used to actually test it against the clock and found that more people were able to physically run the distance and make a contact shot to the hostage taker unquote's head than were able to hit it from 5 steps in the time frame. So that target is, I think, gone a long way towards shaping people's conception of what a hostage situation is going to be in a way that's very unfortunate, I think.
Well, and that's one of the things that actually we were out with Chuck Haggard, the legendary lawman Marshal Chuck Haggard, and one of the things that we were working on was hostage shots, hostage rescue shots. And that was something that he was really talking about, was being able to project the muzzle past the loved one or no shoot or whatever you want to call it, and making essentially a contact shot because it's a much more sure thing.
Certainly. And the time window we're talking about is not very much. I mean, I can remember being with Paul Gomez when he was actually timing it out on a timer. Had people run evolutions, and how quickly could they run 3 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, and make a contact range headshot, basically sort of a straight punch as close as they could get to the hostage taker's forehead and press trigger. And it was certainly no slower than the amount of time it took to make a shot that accurate at that distance under pressure. And the target itself being stationary, I think, skews people's ideas of what's possible. When guns are out, most people are moving, and yet the targets are almost always static.
Well, and the other thing too that not enough people think about is, and once again, I'll give credit where credit's due. Chuck was talking about this with us. Advance on someone that's taken a hostage, or in general, that is acting that way. Number one, they're not expecting it. Number two, whether they mean to or not, it tends to divert the muzzle away from the hostage. Go ahead.
I would certainly yield to Chuck's expertise on that. He's done a lot of, I think, very high order thinking about that sort of circumstance.
Right. Well, and I know that he's run quite a few force-on-force exercises, numbered in the thousands, where they've done scenarios just like that. And it's a natural response when we're attacked, even if we are the bad guy, to point the thing that makes the problem go away at the problem. So
I think it sets up some tension in the thinking process of the hostage taker, because shooting the hostage doesn't make the hostage taker any safer from assault.
Right.
If a rescuer, a loved one, or any other kind of rescuer has initiated a rescue attempt, shooting the hostage doesn't solve that problem for the hostage taker.
Right.
So I think the thinking about hostage scenarios in and of itself is certainly about due for an upgrade.
Well, I know there's a recent article published, and I apologize, I can't remember the counterpoint, the author of the counterpoint, but Claude Werner was talking about the necessity of marksmanship, and how, yes, the hostage targets were suboptimal, but that there were countless examples of it actually working out in real life, where number one, there was a hostage taken, and number two, a number, not a high-speed guy, actually shot someone off of someone else. And that not enough people think about it. So once again, that falls into one of the scenarios though that it's very hard to think about, and people don't want to.
Exactly, and I think Claude's point is well taken in that it's a marksmanship problem, but it's every bit as much, and maybe even more, a thinking problem.
Right.
And to think about it in advance, it's not going to be effort that's wasted. One of the rescue shots that he mentions in his article was taken at slightly more than 20 yards, if I recall, from a second story of a private residence.
Right.
And so it seems that people are able to do it as long as they haven't been told that they can't.
Well, and that's an interesting thing. It seems to me that if we tell people that they will perform to a low level from them, then they will perform at a low level. Whereas if we tell people that they will perform at a high level if they train adequately, and then that's the level we hold them accountable to, they seem to do all right.
Sure, it's a quote that's often attributed to Henry Ford, but I think it's perfectly applicable. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And so the notion is that we're going to tell someone you can't do this, it's incredibly dangerous and it never works, and then say, now go do it. Someone's life is on the line.
Right.
It's remarkably bad counter program.
Right. Well, so let's do this, man. We're coming up on the end of the show. I would like to talk about the Unthinkable class that you and Paul Sharp are putting on December 19th and 20th in Alliance, Ohio. Tell us about that a little bit.
Oh, really looking forward to it. It's going to be two, very, very full training days. Paul is working on a special curriculum that I have sworn to secrecy about, but I can tell you that it's going to be about a lot of the realistic parts of shooting in challenging winter environments. And luckily, you guys are going to provide us a challenging winter environment, I hope, on the 20th of December.
Yep.
And so there'll be, obviously we'll take all the precautions to make sure that nobody's going to get injured or sick from being in the cold. But we're going to deal with the realities of shooting in cold weather and cold weather gear very directly and see how it affects just about all the shooting. There'll be some really intensive training on victim selection process and how to get yourself deselected by violent street criminals. We're going to talk about facing a pistol when you are yourself not having one in your hand and disarming and retention. And we're going to talk about constructing a really effective defensive mindset starting now, starting at the time when we have the most power to affect the outcome. Talking about that pre-need decision process. It's going to be a very full 2 days, and 2 days that I'm looking quite forward to.
Well, yeah, and it's going to be at the Alliance Police Training Facility, which I really believe is quickly becoming the premier facility in the country. It's certainly one of the nicest places that I've ever gotten to shoot at, and that's saying a lot.
And it may sound strange from the instructor's point of view, but I'm dying to see the place myself. It sounds fantastic.
Yes, it will be super cool. If people want to get signed up for that, there is information on the Ballistic Radio Facebook page. We've actually created an event. The class is a little more than half full right now. I think we're at like 70% of capacity. So if you want to get signed up, it's $375, which for two national level trainers for 2 days of instruction is an incredible deal. And the range fee is only $25. So it's gonna be a super cool time, But hey, we're at the end of the show, William. I appreciate you coming on tonight, man. Sorry for the delay at the beginning.
Not at all. Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no worries. And I'm looking forward to seeing you December 19th and 20th. So you be safe, brother.
I will.
All righty. See ya. Make sure you check out our website, ballisticradio.com, like our Facebook page at facebook.com/ballisticradio. Don't know who we're having on next week, but I'm sure it'll be someone cool. Usually is. Thanks for listening, everyone. As always, be safe and see you next week. Hey!
The chat wants to know if you're willing to step in the green room for 10 minutes and.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll carry the video camera over that way. What was that?
Were you ready for me to shout out the thing?
Yeah, that's good. We've got a Google Hangout going, so we're actually like broadcasting on the laptop right now too. So we're gonna walk over to the green room and do stuff.
That's cool, baby.
What was that? It's fine, man. We made it up.
Kyle's Gun Shop, just north of the Redwood Plaza at 928 Hempstead Drive. Anything else or call 407-9091.
I like how we're still broadcasting right now.
I know.
So
Are my pants around my ankle? No, then it's not my traditional post-show wrap-up.
I'm just gonna grab my dick in front of everyone because that's what I do.
That's how Jack. You hand me the bag.
Thank you. What's in that bag? What's he got in that bag? No, that's wrong. Do I have all my stuff? I do. All right. Look at this.
We're walking.
We're walking. God, you're fucking big.
That's what she said.
Ooh. All right. Have a good show, man. All right. See, I'm not seeing the chat though, so you're gonna have
Yeah,
to.
I'm pulling up the chat right now.
Right now.
Right now.
All right.
I can't believe you can't see the chat. Like that.
I'm not making it up.
No. You're right. I can tell now.
I mean, I'm usually pretty dumb about this, but
all right, give us just a second. All righty. Avocado room.
well, it's the color balance is weird.
No, I can see avocado.
All right, this is. Let's see who's in here. I don't know who KB956 is. I know who Trevor is. I know Ren. I know Orion06. Jack Clemens is some asshole that works on the radio. All right. God, this is so far behind.
I know. Like, you guys can't tell, but we're like easily 3 to 4 minutes ahead of you guys on the chat.
I'm going to close the door. I'm going to let you finish.
I'm going to let you finish.
All right. So do you want to like type to them and have them ask whatever questions?
Yeah, I just, you see that part where I said, so we can see the chat now. Any questions, guys? And Trevor said, where's the other 10 minutes of the show we were promised?
What other 10 minutes of the show?
I don't think we promised him anything. I think he is from California, so he's used to just being given everything.
Oh, he's an entitled prick.
Like the water from other states.
Wow. All right. What else? Come on, you guys.
Well, I think people seem to like the live feed, those that followed it. I think this should be a go for that thing that we talked about. Ballistic Radio After Dark.
I'm not sucking your cock on webcam. I'm just telling you right now.
Well, that's not what we discussed at all, but I'm glad we knocked it out of the...
Yeah, Ballistic Radio After Dark.
Now I'm disappointed.
Wait, what attitude? Oh, they're used to hearing me on the radio.
Yeah, they're not used to it raw and in living color.
I see.
Yes, Trevor, more free shit.
Here they are. Hobo gloves.
Oh my God, John's tactical hobo gloves drive me. If you are about to make entry after warming your hand next to a trash barrel fire, these are the gloves to go with. Your tactical hobo. The 80s called. They like. The time I saw those gloves was literally in Predator. Seriously, like Arnie's whole crew is rocking the fingerless gloves in Predator. You just used that as confirmation as why you should keep wearing them, didn't you? I saw that in your eyes.
You know why I'm going to keep wearing them? Because I fucking want to. I do what I want. Or something freezing? Wait. Why? I am watching Lumberjacks. The term we prefer is bears. Oh!
Super inappropriate. We were walking through the mall today, and somebody offered me like the Kishi mall shit that's at the kiosks, and they were like, "Oh, what about your brother?" And I was like, "Do we all look alike to you? Is that what you're saying?" And he got very uncomfortable.
Wait, you said that out loud?
Yeah.
I thought I just heard that in my head.
That's not good.
All right. Come on. If you got questions, you got questions.
They
Now
don't-
we're getting in the car. Have them ask us questions, and we will answer them as they come in. They've got us,
Somebody ask a question.
or we're leaving. Diva shit right now.
We gotta bounce because John is a female version of a hashtag bear problems.
Yes. So legit, the reason behind the fingerless gloves, and you'll see I've got the triple aught design thumb holes. My hands are beat to shit. Because apparently we're not designed for shooting thousands of rounds of handguns.
Hashtag humble brag.
Hashtag first world problems.
Yeah, I like that one too.
So my job is awesome. I'm not complaining, but like from a physical standpoint, especially in the wintertime, when my hands get cold at all, they start to really, really hurt bad. So this is just like a little thing that I do to try and avoid that.
As much as I hate on you for it, I actually do like free the thumb and index finger on most of my gloves. Not for any like cool shooting reason.
You know what it is? It's
just
so
so
you
I
can
can
zoom in on
text.
the porn,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Because that's what you need, like more zoomed in pornography. That's a horrible idea.
Well, some of it's okay.
Thumb holes are awesome.
I need more Tad.
Are we going to learn how to beat a man to death with a radio at Unthinkable?
Yeah, learn how to beach a bitch. Beach. Wait, is this another bear thing? As William puts it, beat a bitch ass to death. That is the preferred technique after you disarm someone.
Okay.
This is really like fucking with me because
Stop.
like
Focus on this one. This is where the talent lives. This is where production happens.
I see.
Take FDT Alpha gloves. I haven't tried them yet, Trevor.
I hold on. I've got them. I've actually had two sets of the Bravos, the fire retardant ones. They rock. They are awesome. Magpul just released 5 million gloves, and 3 of them have touchscreen compatibility. So there is that. William's texting me right now. No, you were good, baby. No, that's what I'm typing.
I know. Jack, you look so tiny on here. I haven't taken as much steroids as I used to. I think that's the
You are
problem.
slid so fucking low in that chair.
Okay, let me actually sit up so they can see like the difference.
Yeah. And I'm back in the chair. I'm sitting up normal. My son saw you for the first time today and was like, "What the fuck is that?" Or like the 6-year-old version of what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't know people got that big.
Most people like don't get it off of like the Facebook where they interact with me, and then they like get the person's like, "Good God, you're fucking huge!" Like, it's weird for me because I don't know.
That's what she said. Very big talent. Wait, what?
Yeah, we know you can't buy the MacBook gloves yet. Just give it time, Trevor. You are so whiny. I'm sorry.
It's a California thing. What else? So that's all we got is, are we going to learn to beat a man to death at Unthinkable with a radio? Thumb holes are awesome.
So what happened to all the Meg Rand talk? They wanted to know why all the movies you named were chick flicks.
In the Cut is not a chick flick at all, unless you like seeing Mark Ruffalo penis.
Well, I mean, who don't? Honestly.
Wow. Wait, what?
Well, look, talent's talent. Anyway, my question is,
Meg Ryan.
Are you
in the Cut
Googling Meg Ryan right now?
Oh, I'm going to show him.
Oh,
I'm going to show him. And it's only got 2.5 stars.
I don't think it was that good of a movie.
No, it wasn't a.
Joey's talking about the time we went to a bar. It was me.
Unless you have gone to a lesbian bar and sang Fiona Apple with a plastered member of a first tier, special forces unit, I think I win.
You beat me on that one.
Okay.
I mean, I've got a lot of bar stories, but I don't have that one.
It was really hard to follow Williams half the conversation.
Yeah, we didn't plan this. We're not planned guys. This was literally Trevor mentioned this on Facebook today, and we got here, and we're getting out of the car, and John goes, "You want to do a Google Hangout tonight?" And I was like, "I think that'd be awesome."
So the smart way to do this would have been for you guys. I mean, we clearly did nothing wrong because we're awesome. The smart way to do it for you guys would have been what Eric did, which was watch the Hangout, mute it when the iHeart broadcast was playing so that you could listen to the show and whatever.
Yeah, I just would have listened to both of them, but I guess having two windows open was too hard.
No criticism
implied. I had both thank you, Eric. You figured it out. I don't know. I'm not. I'll think about a way that we could get both in there. It might be possible. But as
these hands.
These are the hands.
Watching us do the show being awesome is like I'm not comprehending this. I've been doing this for like 4 years now, and like this is like a work day to me.
I'll tell them, like, from my point of view, like when I first got started, I walked in here like super nervous my first day because I expected like this super polished thing. Like we were going to come in, they were going to hand us like a script and all this other stuff, and I didn't know what to expect because I took this job with like no real understanding of what happened. And we get in, and John just like do play on the phone, call this, and I'm like, oh, we don't really have a plan. Okay, cool. That's awesome.
So
the only problem with the delay, but yeah, I don't know why there's such a huge delay. I guess that's just the internet for you.
So you're watching it on YouTube, not through Google Hangouts.
Oh, this might be part of the problem.
So it's going, and that's why I'm not seeing any of the chat, because it's on Hangouts.
And when you sent me the link, it took me to YouTube. Okay,
I understand now.
Now we're synced up. I enjoyed it just because
I couldn't see what was being said.
Well,
that actually makes it a little more fun.
It is. There was a running thing of like when I said "bang Ryan" on air, and I was out on that one. I was like, no, not gonna do it.
You can say whatever you want if you're willing to pay the FCC fine.
No.
Oh.
No. You see my checks.
Yeah, I do.
Not baller on that level.
I don't pay you shit. You're like Irish. Oh.
Part of the drinks. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Do you enjoy this? Hashtag crazy. It's hard enough to like keep him like on curved penis head every time. Since we were talking about audio, the levels for John and Guest are unusually different.
Yes, I know. So yeah, that's Clear Channel's thing. I've talked with them about that. There's apparently, if I were a baller and had free time and like, I'll have Jack do this. There's an audio program that we can run the MP3s, through the, so anyway. If the podcasts are what you're talking about, yes, we know it's an issue. We're trying to fix it. If you're talking about the Hangout, then the reason that was because I can only have it so loud, not in a headphone, because then it gets like a weird feedback loop with the microphone and like the monitors and all that. So usually we have that turned off. So,
I mean, I would say this, what we're doing right now, these hangouts, this is so you can kind of see some of the shenanigans that happen, because it does get funny in there occasionally. I wish we had it last week when I assaulted John on air for like a solid 30 seconds of just like,
wow, it's I like black out during the show. Like if you ask me like literally what went on during the show,
not a clue.
No fucking idea.
No clue. I prefer this over the I Heart Curve Penis.
It needs to be a patch.
Oh my God,
and William bringing it up, and I'm like,
I was so happy with what I said in the chat, but I couldn't say it on air. I was like, man, William really threw you a curveball. That's why I backed away from the mic, to stop myself from saying that, because I was like, this show will derail so hard. It was already bad because we were in a flat spin. The shenanigans are solid.
Inverted flat spin.
Inverted, is it because it wasn't?
Talk to me, Jack.
Awesome. Are we going to do a Christmas special? Or this is how you do a Christmas special? Let's celebrate Christmas.
There's only 14 viewers now.
We've lost 5. I really want to know who those 5 watching this. And because, like, most of you guys in the chat and everything, you guys are people that know us and everything. You know that there are 5 people that just clicked on this and were like, nope, click out.
Is this gay porn? When are they going to get to third base?
Wow. Why do you always go there? Like,
I like third base. It's way better than second base.
I will fucking hit you on air.
You should have let me do it.
I would, and I'm telling you, I'm going to knock the shit out of you.
Open hand. That was no. Come on.
We didn't sign a contract. There's no safe
base?
Word here.
Peronis.
Oh. Alrighty.
All right, we're leaving.
Yeah. Guys, we're going to do this again and look for some new stuff. Ballistic Radio expanding, growing bigger, stronger, and slightly curved.